popular black pastor, David Taylor, was just arrested by the feds on RICO charges for doing something that I don't feel like a lot of people know it's illegal. I certainly didn't know that this was illegal.
Church leaders accused in a nationwide human trafficking case will remain in jail after appearing in federal court today. One of the hearings was in Tampa, where Michelle Brannon declined to have a bond hearing, instead choosing to have the hearing in Michigan, where the case is actually based. In a court filing, prosecutors say that they want Brannon held until her trial. They wrote that she is a danger to others and worry that she may try to run. They also indicated that her home address was listed as a mansion in the affluent Avila neighborhood in North Tampa. That property was one of 4 across the country raided by federal agents yesterday. Authorities say the properties belong to David Taylor and his Kingdom of God Global Church. Court documents indicate the church was operating 9 call centers. One of them was actually at that Avila mansion. Investigators say unpaid workers were forced to solicit donations or face punishments, including physical and psychological abuse and food and sleep deprivation. The indictment alleges that Taylor made the rules and Brannon, the church's executive director, enforced them.
Trafficking is obviously illegal, but when I learned that David Taylor was arrested, the first thing that came to my mind wasn't trafficking. I had a framework of exactly what the charges were going to be before I actually read the charges. I for sure thought David Taylor got arrested for scamming. I for sure thought David Taylor got arrested for financial fraud, for taking people's money. But the trafficking charges in which he's being accused of trafficking his congregation is a little unique, and we'll get to that a little later on. But the reason why I thought for sure he was arrested for scamming and fraud was because David Taylor had controversy surrounding his name almost from the very beginning of him debuting in the public. He was known as a false prophet from day one. Bro had unusual fundraising methods. Bro had unusual preaching. Yo, I knew that David Taylor couldn't be trusted and that he wasn't somebody that I would ever give a penny to when that man took the stage and he called himself the Pope.
Because I am not a false prophet. The Lord spoke to me just now. And just because someone is called a Pope don't really mean they're the Pope. It's who God gives the power to. He gave it to me. I'm not a liar. Jesus came to me. So I started to realize I'm the Pope. I don't need no robes. I'm the pontiff. I've been chosen by God to hold the highest rank out of all preachers in the world.
Really? Bro had no interest whatsoever in running a church or an organization or a congregation. Bro wanted to run a cult. His only aspiration was to be a cult leader, and he was successful in doing just that. Because when David Taylor was successful in convincing thousands of people that he was Christ himself, that like God actually talked to him and told him that he's the top preacher or top priest in the world and that all priests shall bow before him, his congregation actually believed that. And because he was able to condition them to believe that, it was even easier to take their money. And David Taylor wouldn't just ask for money. No, he would beg with no shame. Right? Yo, David Taylor will look his congregation in their eyes and tell them they should give him their entire savings, 401k, everything they have, because God told him so. And that if they give him their entire savings, 401k, emergency funds, that God will give it back to them double.
Give $10,000. If we have 500 people give $10,000, we can raise the million in one day. Lord, I also break a stingy spirit because I sense that there's some heavy hitters watching me tonight. There's some people that can give 200,000, 300,000. They can give 50,000, 20,000. They had it saved up. You have finances that you have to give, but you're holding it up. You will have it saved. You have it put away somewhere. God wants you to sow that right now. You have large amounts that you have in savings or annuities, or you probably have to go in a CD and break it, but God is giving it to you. You need to sow it tonight. You got money in your bank accounts. You got money in your annuities. You got money in your stocks. You got money in gold, in silver. You got money somewhere.
Like Apostle was saying, other things that you have gold coins, you have stocks, annuities, IRAs, bonds, lands, savings, things that are just sitting.
We need to take care of this now, quickly. Come on, I want those who can give. You need to do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now, quickly.
I'm not judging nobody who choose to go to mega churches like this, but if worshiping God is this taxing, I'm gonna just worship him at home, man. I'm good. I'm straight. He would even go off and claim that people were robbing God because they weren't giving their savings to David Taylor so he could buy Christian Louboutins and Gucci belts. See, he was actually in trouble before, and he was actually called to sit for a deposition. And during that deposition, they went through his spending habits and exactly what he was spending the millions of dollars that he was raising every year on.
All right, so what is this residential center?
Oh, this is a place that the ministry owns. Well, not own. We're in the process of buying that. Yeah, we don't own it yet.
So are you renting to buy, or?
Yeah, we're leasing to buy.
You have that as an asset of $2,844,500. So do you own it?
I just answered that, didn't I? I said we didn't own it.
Okay,
We're
but
leasing
where
to buy
does
it.
I'm sorry?
We're leasing to buy it. Did you? I thought we just said that.
All right, but
Yeah.
you have listed it as an asset worth $2,844,000.
Oh, that should be more of a liability.
All right, so where does the number $2,844,000 come from on your asset and liability?
That's, I guess, the appraisal value of the home or the residential center. Yeah.
Is it a home?
No, it's a residential center.
He accidentally slipped up and called it a home because that's what it is. He bought himself a mega mansion and a Rolls Royce with the church's tax-exempt money, but you can't use tax-exempt money to buy yourself a mega mansion for your personal home. So what he did was he named his personal home a residential center, and he would claim the purpose of this is to host the guests that the church will have in town. So if a big guest come in town, they will spend a night at the crib. And if they got to get chauffeured around, they would need the Rolls Royce to drive them around town to show them around. So this dude is just corrupt altogether.
November 29th, 2013, JMMI paid over $6,000 to Louis Vuitton.
Yes.
What would that be for?
Well, this is for clothes concerning my TV ministry as well.
Or you have to wear Louis Vuitton?
Oh, it don't matter what name it is. The point is clothing are allocated to us for ministry purposes as well.
What do you mean they're allocated to you?
You know, in a media ministry.
In a what?
Media ministry.
Yeah.
Okay, or on the road, when I'm always traveling and using my clothes, I'm sweating through them. So I'm needing new clothes also for television ministry through the years. So.
And so you used ministry money to buy your wardrobe?
Outfit.
It's
allocated more towards ministry apparel.
Does that go into what your income is?
I'm sorry.
Do you show that in your income that you got Louis Vuitton clothing?
No, that's not. That
doesn't show.
Because it don't go there.
It don't go there. I don't know
no.
what that means.
It don't belong there. That's out of place.
What's out of place?
You don't get taxed on things like that. That's for ministry business purpose.
So when I heard he was arrested for a RICO, I was expecting charges in relation to things like this. But apparently that's not where we're at currently. So let's address exactly what he was arrested for and why he's currently in federal custody. So David Taylor, he realized, man, that begging on TV, that was too taxing, that was too time consuming. There has to be a more efficient way to do it. So what he did was he started a call center. And the purpose of this call center is there will be people calling 24/7, random numbers all across America asking for money for the church. But not just the church, though. He would instruct them, hey, bruh, if you got to tell these folks the church will give a certain percentage of the proceeds to kids dying of cancer, tell them that, man. Whatever you got to do, raise that money. And he was very successful. His call centers raised about $50 million between 2014 to now. That's about $5 million per year. But here's the catch, and here's where it became a tad bit illegal. So grown adults would volunteer to work at this call center because they believe that David Taylor is really the second coming of Christ. Now, when they volunteered to work at the call center, they volunteered to work without pay. So they would work at the call center without pay, and they couldn't get an outside job. The natural progression of the line of logic would be, if you're working at this call center without pay and you're working long hours, then how are you able to provide for yourself? Well, you can't. And that was designed that way, because when you can't provide for yourself, now you are vulnerable. Now you are literally in the grip of David Taylor, and now he could extract more hours from you in return for basic necessity that you would be able to maintain for yourself if you had employment outside of this call center that's not paying you. David Taylor and his church, they controlled every aspect of these quote-unquote employees' lives. The employees lived within a call center, but it wasn't a call center per se. It was one of those mega mansions that he had, one of those houses. They just set up phones in those houses and they were calling from those houses. So they lived in those houses while working in those houses, and they had to make calls about 16 to 18 hours a day with no sleep, no rest, no lunch break, no nothing. And if you didn't meet the quotas, so they would want to raise about $50,000 per day. And if you didn't meet those quotas, well, they would take away food from you. Here's a text from David Taylor to the group. He wrote, "Warning from Apostle Michelle, deal out consequences to all the closers that are not bringing in their amount. Garage in Tampa and take away food now. I want those in Ocala who's supposed to be doing their work but are not, punished and out in the garage and their food taken away." Another text from David Taylor says, "Warning to the whole staff, it's too expensive for us to provide for the amount of people who won't learn to close, so I'm only buying enough for the few at this point who have applied the training and have learned to close. If you don't work effectively and learn closing like we told you, you won't eat." I don't know who's dumber, David Taylor or the people who signed up for this. These were volunteers, by the way. These people left their home. Some of these people was recruited from out of town, and they left their homes to go work for David Taylor and work in a call center where he's controlling their daily lives and what they eat and what they can't eat. And that's why I didn't know if this was illegal or not, because it's like, if adults are volunteering to do this, they're volunteering to work at this call center without pay. I didn't quite know this counted as trafficking, but apparently it does. Now, the worst part about this all too, and why I say I don't know what type of idiot will sign up for this, they signed up thinking this man was a man of God, but his actions will show that he's not. He would hire these personal slaves called arm bearers. And what the arm bearers would do, there will be personal assistants who essentially was on the clock 24/7. And these arm bearers would watch him, right, participate in adultery. And they will still think this man is Jesus for some reason. David Taylor recruited individuals to work as his armor bearers who served as his personal servants by fulfilling his demands. Taylor demanded the armor bearers provide food for him, transport him, maintain his houses and cars, transport women from ministry houses, airports, and other locations to David Taylor's, and ensure the women transported to him took Plan Bs after he clapped their cheeks. But this was the guy that they believe was sent by God himself, that they were able or willing to be his servants? I mean, listen, bruh. Any man of God who transported me to clap women cheeks out of marriage and then making them take a Plan B, son, like, I don't need no like definitive clue that this man ain't no child of God. To me, that's enough clue right there, bruh. If you do a true deep dive into this call center and the operation, it was almost like the perfect scheme, because the call center is self-raising money for the church, is not illegal. They're technically able to volunteer their time for the church. That's not illegal, right? And because they lived in the house, they were technically unemployed, and they were able to apply for food stamps and other government aid. And they gave the government aids to David Taylor, and David Taylor used that to feed them and house them. So essentially, David Taylor had free workers that the government was paying for their day-to-day living because he used the food stamps they gave him, while still making $50 million and pocketing it all, and it's all profits because the employees are free. Taylor and Brandon demanded that victims apply for government-funded electronic benefits, EBT cards, claiming to be homeless, and give the cards to Taylor and other staff from the church who reported to them, and they would use the government money to feed them and house them and pay for their daily living. So their employees and all their expenses was being funded by the government while still profiting from $50 million and not having an ounce of overhead. Oh, no, these people had the perfect scheme. The government is charging them with trafficking, claiming this was a cult and these people were there through force and coercion. I don't know how that's going to play out, man. I feel like there's more here with the financial frauding and scheming and scamming. This man has been a fraudster since about 2010, bro. Get him on those charges. The human trafficking, I don't know, right? I hope he goes to jail, but can you go to jail if adults volunteer their time and they could have left whenever they want to leave, but they still stayed? I don't know, bro. Right? Or maybe they couldn't leave if they wanted to. Maybe they were there through force. Right? Because you could volunteer your time, and then, once you get sick of it, you want to leave, they keep you there. So maybe that's it. But y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, okay? Do y'all believe, that David Taylor deserved to go to jail for a long time? Let me know. And if you're still watching, click on this video here somewhere on my screen, somewhere here on my screen to find out why Gunna, I believe, is in big trouble after Young Thug exposed him during his new interview with Big Bank. I'm going to see you guys in this video somewhere on my screen. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.